Hello, everyone, and welcome to Albuquerque, New Mexico, where the sun is setting, but the energy inside the lab is only building as New Mexico welcome El Paso Locomotive for another chapter in one of the Southwest's fiercest rivalries. Thank you for joining us this evening on CBS Sports Golazo Network. We'd like to let you know that the USL on CBS is presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel partner of the United Soccer League. My name is Tyler Ortega, joined tonight by Chris Hurst. Chris, another edition of the Derby del Camino Real, New Mexico taking on El Paso. Two very familiar opponents, three critical points at stake tonight.
Yeah, huge game tonight, and New Mexico United welcoming one of the deadliest attacking teams in the USL Championship right now. It's going to be really interesting to see how they handle it.
Well, let's go ahead and jump right into things this evening with our players.
Ding dong.
Mountain dude?
The mountain is calling.
Give me a mountain with lots to do. Give me the sunshine, give me a view. True. All I need is sunshine and that cool, refreshing mountain. Yeah, give me the sunshine, give me a view.
Welcome back here to the lab. Kickoff just moments away between New Mexico United and El Paso Locomotive. Let's take a look at our starting lineups here, presented by Will Ferguson and Associates. And Chris, for New Mexico, you're going to see a three-headed monster in the attack. Dayon Harris, Greg Hurst, Niall Reed-Steven. The interesting part about this, Greg Hurst still searching for that first goal of the season.
Yeah, and obviously he'll be keen to get on the score sheet in front of this home crowd as well. But really exciting to see Harris and Reed-Steven on either side, and Noel, I expect to have pretty much free reign to roam anywhere in that space behind him as well to be that supporting act.
So we take a look here at the visitors. Head coach Junior Gonzalez off to a hot start. This is how he's rolling his side out tonight. Of course, you've got the sharpshooter up top, Rubio Rubin. We already talked about Armando Moreno, but there's playmakers all around this El Paso side, Chris. Alex Mendez as well. He scored against New Mexico the last time these two teams played. There's going to be shots coming from all over the place.
And another former New Mexico United player with Saint-T on there as well. But that Rubin up front, tied for third in the USL Championship scoring charts. Obviously someone who New Mexico United need to account for every time the ball is in and around their 18-yard box.
These two teams we've mentioned, very familiar opponents. Tonight, the 22nd edition of the Derby del Camino Real. That is the head official tonight. That's Alexandra Billeter. Assistant referees tonight are Peter Hansen and Jake Brochu. Our fourth official is Max Alatorre. There's New Mexico on the pitch in their mural kits. Chris, the new Meow Wolf kits for the season. And El Paso tonight in their Hueco Tanks kits. This is a sharp-looking matchup here this evening.
Yeah, and obviously New Mexico United managing to keep their dirty little secret up until right before kickoff with some famous guests doing the coin toss and being part of the pregame festivities.
The All-American Rejects joining us at the lab here this evening as we are underway in the Derby del Camino Real. Thank you for joining us here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Tyler Ortega alongside Chris Hurst as New Mexico immediately in possession. And Chris, these two, although this is the first time they've met in league play, this is not the first meeting of the season. In fact, these two squads did battle on April 1st, just last month, right across the street from us here at the University of New Mexico Soccer Complex in the U.S. Open Cup. And at the 90-minute whistle, it was El Paso 4, New Mexico 0.
Yeah, not a good outing for New Mexico United, but obviously El Paso Locomotive will be hoping to replicate that. You know, it's only 100 yards away across the street there, but again, it doesn't matter what competition, whether it's a pre-season friendly, US Open Cup, USL Championship, it does not matter. These two teams, there's always a bit of needle when they step on the field together.
Always a little bit of chaos, a little bit of pandemonium. Malik Howell sends this ball across to Chris Gloucester. Gloucester was out of the squad the last time New Mexico took the field at the lab. Good to see him back from injury for head coach Dennis Sanchez. El Paso boasting one of the league's most potent offenses. We talk about Rubio Rubin making the early case for signing of the offseason, not just in the Western Conference, Chris, but the overall league with the impact that he's had for head coach Junior Gonzalez.
It's clear, I mean, the start of the season that El Paso Locomotive have had, had a little wobble a couple of weeks ago, but seem to have maybe got things back on track. But, well, obviously the red card in the game against Tulsa in the 11th minute for Gabby Torres, you got to imagine that had a huge bearing on how that game went. But El Paso have looked a really solid outfit so far this season.
Rubin looking to link up with Moreno. Down goes Jake LaCava. And Armando Moreno called for the foul. And we mentioned his time here in New Mexico, Chris, and it's one that the black and yellow faithful will remember very fondly as we have a look at Dennis Sanchez on the touchline for New Mexico. Going back to Moreno, Chris, 85 appearances for the club, 24 goals.
And some of those were, I mean, I don't know exact games, but there was some absolutely really, really important games, especially down the stretch. You know, where the season before you unfortunately had that knee injury, which scored some huge goals, specifically here at home as well, which just endeared him to the New Mexico United faithful.
New Mexico lucked out there. It looked like Calvillo was onto something, but New Mexico looking to counter. This is Reed Stephen. Finds Jabang, and Usman Jabang rattles the woodwork. Just 4 minutes in, And that'll wake up Sebastian Mora Mora back there.
Based on Mora Mora's reaction there, he got a big hand to this. He's certainly acting like he had a big say in that. And Japan did not waste any time. Set back by Reed Stephen and decides just to have a go and just tries to shape it. I'm not sure Mora Mora got a touch there. Maybe he's just excited the post were put there, but what a great strike by Jabang and first shot across the bow by New Mexico United.
Well, Usman Jabang, he's no stranger to scoring on that goal. He found the back of the net in the home opener back in late March against Colorado Springs, late in stoppage time. He's looking to add to his tally there. Instead, New Mexico with their first Topo Chico hard seltzer corner kick of the evening. Reed Stephen delivers, and it's headed away by Mendez. Mendez with an absolute screamer of a free kick the last time these two teams met. So we're talking about that Open Cup match on April 1st. Wasn't that long ago. You know, that's going to live fresh in the minds of this New Mexico side. It was 1-0 up until about the 59-minute mark when Jabang was sent off. So New Mexico were reduced to just 10 men for the remainder of that game. El Paso really just broke the floodgates open. Noel is looking to find Dayon Harris. Kickoff tonight brought to you by Bank of America as New Mexico is set for another corner kick here, Chris, and dominating the ball early on.
Dominating the ball and territory as well. You know, really good start by New Mexico United, really penning El Paso Locomotive into their own defensive third and asking some serious questions.
Here's Reed Stephen once again. The Barbados international. In swinger, and it's kind of just stuffed out there. It's Rubio Rubin with the defensive duties. Well, that's a look at Junior Gonzalez, former LAFC two-man in his first season as head coach for El Paso and leading one of the league's most potent offenses. And they've been really good away from home, Chris.
Yeah, they really have. Undefeated away from home, 3-0, and scored 9, conceded 1. So another, and that's not including the US Open Cup either. That's just in the regular season. So yeah, El Paso Locomotive really travel well.
Here's Reed Stephen, tries again, back post, and just off the mark that time. Malik Howell climbing the ladder.
I think Howell will be really disappointed with that. Great ball, and his defender gets picked, so he ends up wide open. Right in the middle there, just peels off the back. Cordova, I think it is, who loses his man there, and really from 5-6 yards out should be at least hitting the target there. Maybe gets shoved just a little off balance right as he's about to make contact though.
Malik Howell making his 50th career league appearance as a professional tonight, Chris. That would have been his first career professional goal. This ball headed away by Noah Dolenmeyer. Easily the tallest player out there on the pitch, Chris.
Certainly can't miss him with legs long enough to be continued.
Foul called. Gorgeous evening here as you just saw the conditions. Howell dealing with that pesky Rubio Rubin. Zico Bailey. There's Harris. Dayon Harris, Chris, you mentioned the torn ACL that he came back from just past the midway point of last season. Really developed quickly into New Mexico's most potent offensive weapon. Scored some really big goals for the club.
Yeah, and it's those first like 10 yards, like that first step after he takes the turn, he's absolutely rapid, and that's what you worry about coming back from a serious injury, but has not missed a beat.
Let's take a look at our keys to the match. Brought to you by the Somos Unidos Foundation. Positive outcomes for all New Mexicans. For New Mexico, Chris, limit the El Paso set pieces. Defensive discipline, specifically finishing this game 11v11, and be adaptable. El Paso able to play in several different systems that we've seen, and certainly looking a little bit different here this evening with the absence of Gabby Torres.
Yeah, El Paso, they look like they just started up in a straight 4-3-3. They've got Saint-T and Calvillo, Coronado in the midfield, and Moreno's very much playing off this left-hand side here as well, looking. So, in support, Mendes and Moreno in support of Rubin, and that's a pretty potent front three for El Paso, that's for sure.
Long ball hit forward, dealt with by Malik Howell, and this was something that we saw from El Paso early against Tulsa. Just trying to find some space in behind that back line and letting their speedy forwards run onto these balls. Rubin and Moreno, a combined 9 goals so far, with Rubin notching 5 of those. This is Cardona. They'll go all the way back to Sebastian Mora. New Mexico pressing forward here with Greg Hurst. John Harris with the deflection. This is a look at our injury report brought to you by Ben Sherman Law. Injured at work, Ben Sherman can help. A couple of names on the list for New Mexico: Kip Keller and Joseph Melto Cuiaya. Melto Cuiaya, newcomer to the squad this season, yet to make his debut in black and yellow. This is Amando Moreno. Finds some space in the midfield. The captain, Calvillo, spreads it. Mendez thought about it. Another former New Mexico man in Carl Saint-T. Saint-T and Moreno teammates back here in Albuquerque. All the way back in the 2022 season, Carl Saint-T made 5 appearances for the black and yellow before being dealt to FC Dallas. Spent most of his time in that system with North Texas SC. And Saint-T, he's really just getting in on every side of the rivalry, Chris. He's played for New Mexico, El Paso, and Phoenix Rising.
Who's next then?
Yeah,
Who would be next?
That checks all the boxes.
Springs, are they going to sneak into the switchback, sneak into the rivalry?
Uh-oh, space here for Rubin. Rubin opens up the scoring for El Paso just 12 minutes in. Rubin has now scored each of the last 2 times he's touched the field here at the Lab.
And that's how deadly he and this team can be. First time that El Paso have really ventured not only just into the New Mexico United 18-yard box, but across the halfway line, really, in all seriousness. 1 shot, 1 goal, and it just fell to him nicely in the 18-yard box. A little bit of confusion, it looked like, and the questions are being asked by the New Mexico United players right now, but it just fell to the right guy for El Paso, and he absolutely rifles it into the bottom corner.
Rubin not afraid to have a pop as he snuck by Nico Hamalainen and just unleashed one past Chris Shakes. And as we mentioned, that's the 2nd goal in as many games here at the Lab for Rubin. He scored for Charleston Battery last July here. He came on as a second-half sub, ended up scoring what would be the winning goal that afternoon.
See the New Mexico United back line, just a little lack of discipline where Howell and LaCava were just maybe 5-6 yards deeper than the left side there, and Rubin just finds that space in behind. I thought maybe it just dropped to him, but it was a great entry pass into his feet. a yard or two of space, and he doesn't need a second invitation, turns and hits the shot before anyone can react, and Chris Shakes really had no chance.
This is Chris Shakes. Hasn't really been called into action outside of that one shot there. This is Jake LaCava, newcomer to the side. Reed Steven. Reed Steven, great ball into LaCava. The cross goes in, and Greg Hurst with the back heel flick past Mora Mora. New Mexico tie things up just 2 minutes later.
My goodness, Greg Hurst. Not only the little flick, but he gets the nutmeg on Mora Mora as well. I think he's completely caught off guard. What a reaction by New Mexico United to the opening goal from El Paso Locomotive. Straight down the other end. Great little entry pass into LaCava. Puts a great ball in, and just the deftest of little touches, little back heel, little flick by Greg Hurst. Like I say, completely catches Mora Mora off guard through his legs into the back of the net.
It's the first goal of the season for Greg Hurst, and what a big goal it is, Chris. New Mexico punches El Paso right back.
And you're always told that it's a dangerous time right after you score, the first 5 minutes after you score. New Mexico United very much take advantage of that little look there, LaCava, that little flick to be defended by Tolmai as well, where his legs are so long as well, and he gets it around there. And I think you can just see how it just catches Mora Mora off guard, where before you can even react, it's in between his legs. And what a way to score your first goal of the season.
And that is the first time this season, Chris, that New Mexico have scored within the opening 15 minutes of a match. Huge answer back from the hosts.
And a lot of the good things that New Mexico, I mean, you know, the El Paso goal really did come against the run of play. New Mexico United have had a lot of the good things in the first 12 minutes or so, and the El Paso goal really kind of knocked the stuffing out of New Mexico, you would think, but great reaction, and a lot of the good things that New Mexico have done have come down their right-hand side, the left-hand side for El Paso, and once again, it's that combination on that side that yields the rewards.
The goal scorer, Greg Hurst, whistled for the foul there as Dolenmeyer goes to grounds. It's going to set up this TLC free kick. TLC plumbing, heating, cooling, and electrical. And that goal could prove to be huge for Greg Hurst, just in terms of getting the confidence going, Chris, especially as a striker.
Oh, absolutely. It's one of the most, it's the intangible, right? Like all the technique, all the fitness, all the work rate you do off the field. That's something that really can't be taught, and it's just something that happens in games. And when strikers are going through the bounce spells, it's not just the coaches, the players, the fans who knows it. The strikers know it as well, and they really do feel it. And they start maybe snatching at chances and maybe doing things that are a little less natural. That was the most natural finish in that position that Greg Hurst could do, which shows that even though he was going through a little bit of a dry spell, he was still very much confident in his own ability there.
Well, that goal from Greg Hurst is brought to you by Vara Winery and Distillery, as Mendez looking to link up with Rubin, and it's just cleared away by New Mexico. I believe that was Chris Gloucester dealing with the danger that time. Just concedes the throw in here for El Paso. Quesada will do the honors. Bit of an awkward ball here as Mora Mora well out of his box to clear that ball away. LaCava goes to ground. Nothing doing from the official that time. Rubin now called for the foul as Malik Howell down in the center circle.
It was a little awkward the way that he fell there. Rubin just gave him a little nudge while he was in midair there, and fell very heavily on the turf there.
Take another look on this TLC replay. It just kind of lands square on his hip. A lot of impact. Hope Howell is okay. There's a lot of injuries in the back line for New Mexico, Chris. We saw Kip Keller already on the injury list. As you look at the bench for Dennis Sanchez, Will Seymour able to fill in if you need to. First runs into the official. Get a drop ball here. Mexico now dealing with some pressure. This could turn into something. Here comes the Frenchman, Valentin Noel. He's got options. Noel. A cross cut out by the El Paso defense, but deflected there by Gloucester. Maybe a throw in deep for El Paso.
That was a great little turn by Noel on the left-hand side from New Mexico. Breaks free, but the runs of Reed, Stephen and Hurst both really matched each other. There was no depth in them, so there was only really one pass that Noel could try and play, and it was such a narrow angle that he had to try and find as well. So maybe having that trailing runner around about the penalty spot, maybe a little deeper, might have given him a couple more options, made it a little harder to defend.
There's a great stat there from our crew. New Mexico dominating the ball here over the opening 15 minutes. 66% of the possession. El Paso have been under fire despite opening the scoring. And with El Paso opening the scoring, it's not really unfamiliar for either of these sides in the Derby del Camino Real. Tonight marks the 6th out of the last 7 matches these two have played. El Paso have scored first. This is Hamalainen. 12 caps for the Finland national team. Off-season addition here for Dennis Sanchez. Spent some time with Queens Park Rangers in the championship, also with the 2 LA teams in MLS, the Galaxy and LAFC. Spent last season in Norway, scored once over 13 appearances. This is Moreno. Closed down by a black and yellow double team. New Mexico come into possession here. Captain Calvillo. That ball cut out by LaCava. Dennis Sanchez and his squad coming into tonight 10th in the Western Conference, Chris, but there's a couple ways you can look at it. Not for a lack of results. Only 5 matches played in the USL Championship so far this season for New Mexico. In some cases, up to 4 games in hand on other Western Conference opponents. As El Paso look to be onto something here, it's Calvillo. The offside flag is up.
Yeah, no, it's really odd. I remember a few years ago that New Mexico United had the same as well, where they had a bye or two in the first couple of weeks. Felt like they were playing catch up for the rest of the season, and that's probably what's going to end up happening. It's going to be a little lull in games, obviously in June as well, with the World Cup coming up. So the back end of the schedule for New Mexico United is going to be really, really stacked.
Well, that makes weeks like these all the more important. New Mexico with 2 home matches this week, hosting El Paso tonight, Las Vegas Lights on Saturday. And so this could be a 6-point week here for the black and yellow. As Jabang finds Greg Hurst. Greg Hurst doubles up. New Mexico take the lead 25 minutes in. It's a brace for the Scotsman.
Really great play there by New Mexico United. And a few moments ago, we noticed that Noel was starting to find little pockets of space in the midfield and starting to really kind of run the game here. And there's another midfielder just slotted the ball into Hurst's feet, and all he needed was one touch to set himself. And again, looks like a striker with confidence. Maybe the goal earlier on just making him feel that little bit more. But that little reverse pass against the grain, and the first touch by Hurst just makes it where he doesn't need another touch and then just passes it into the bottom corner. What a great little sequence that was by New Mexico United.
That goal brought to you by Vara Winery and Distillery. Greg Hurst strikes twice in a 10-minute window. New Mexico have turned this derby on its head, Chris.
And again, it can't be overstated. That little reverse pass, Juban was heading towards the right-hand side of the field, towards Reed Stephen. El Paso started shifting that direction. He just played that pass, like I say, against the grain, which kind of caught everyone off guard except Greg Hurst, who was fully expecting it. And that first touch just settled it in a way where, with his weak foot, able to pop it in the bottom corner.
This is Moreno. Well, Chris, it's been quite some time since New Mexico have had a hat trick. You got to go all the way back to April of 2023 for their last in all competitions. And it was, you want to take a guess at who the last New Mexico United hat trick was? I'll give you a hint. It was US Open Cup, and it was an early round game.
Oh, that's a good one, that. Nava? No.
Close. It was one Josh Dalling with a hat trick against the New Mexico State University club team in the US Open Cup back in April of 2023. There's a player down, but we play on. This ball goes all the way back to Mora Mora, and we will have the stoppage of play now. Well, Junior Gonzalez on the touchline just looks a little frustrated. In some words with the fourth official as his player gets tended to. Fans, while we've got a moment, we'd like to let you know that you can tune into the CBS Sports Network for a round 2 Brinks Tires USL Cup Group 6 matchup. Richmond Kickers host Charleston Battery at 6 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Mountain Time. That's Saturday, May 16th. You can catch all the action on the CBS Sports Network. You know, Chris, with the USL Cup back for a second season, you know, you get to see these unique matchups like Richmond Kickers, one of the most historical franchises in America, now playing in League One, taking on Charleston Battery, who are also one of the longer standing franchises in the country, who are playing in the USL Championship. A lot of fun. And, you know, for New Mexico, that means playing new opponents like we just had our last home game here at the Lab, where they hosted AV Alta.
Yeah, it's great to see how the league and the I guess the pyramid within the US structure is really growing as well, you know. And I think obviously this summer is a huge summer for soccer in America as well, with the World Cup coming to town.
This is Moreno, gets down to the byline. Ball still in the danger zone, and it's eventually cleared out by Nico Hamalainen. Dollenmeyer will chase it down. I think the home crowd's starting to realize who number 10 is down there with the bleached hair. Moreno being greeted by a chorus of boos from the home crowd. Carl Saint-T is probably thinking, geez, I'm glad they don't recognize me. Quesada finds Coronado. Ball popped over the top. Here's Rubin. Cross goes in, and Moreno sends it over the crossbar. Hard to tell if Shake's got a touch there or not.
Wow, I mean, just the movement of Rubin there, where he arced his run and bent his run to keep himself onside, and he's always looking to play off the shoulder of the centre-back, and then plays the ball into that corridor of uncertainty, and you just see the bleached hair of Moreno popping up. And for New Mexico United, you fear the worst, but a combination of pressure from behind with Howell and Shake standing his ground as well. And Moreno's forced, it looks like, to given that he's forced to put the ball over that, because he's forced to lift this over Shake, because Shake stays big as long as possible. You see, he's just forced well, so well done for Chris Shakes for staying as big as possible for as long as possible there.
Well, Paso looking to ask some more questions here. Ball into the box, and it'll be a corner kick here for the visitors. Well, 30 minutes in the books, Chris. 3 goals already. If you're just joining us, Rubio Rubin opening up the scoring just 12 minutes in, but New Mexico punching back just 3 minutes later by way of Greg Hurst in the 15th minute. And then the Scotsman doubled his tally just 10 minutes later. It leads us to where we currently stand in the 22nd edition of the Derby del Camino Real. And Chris, here's the thing about this rivalry. This rivalry spans USL Championship regular season, postseason. Paso holds the edge there. Spans the US Open Cup. That doesn't count the preseason friendlies that the clubs play almost every single preseason as well. And so a lot of games between these two. And in the games that count, Chris, it's split almost about as evenly as you can make it. New Mexico hold the very slight edge. There's been 8 draws. New Mexico with 7 wins, El Paso with 6.
Obviously, the two clubs became very familiar in that the COVID hit season when all the conferences were split into smaller groups, to avoid so much traveling.
Rubin in a foot race here with Howell. Space closes down quickly. Here's Calvillo, the captain. He gives possession away. Comes all the way back to Ricky Ruiz. Sends the ball back into the box. Jabang has his clearance blocked. Moreno now. Moreno. Saint-T. Back to Moreno. Saint-T just couldn't track it down. The Haitian international. You talk about some players that have played on both sides of this rivalry, Chris. We've got a couple of them here tonight. From Kiesewetter, another one. This ball just short, looking for Niall Reed-Steven, but favorable bounce to New Mexico. Here comes Valentin Noel. Gloucester has space. Harris. Mexico showing patience. Gloucester didn't quite like what he saw there that time. Really now. Cava had his arms raised for a second. It feels like he's got some space in behind Moreno. We're talking about how even this series is when it comes to the results, Chris, as it currently stands. Goals scored in this series all time, El Paso 30, New Mexico 29. Harris just lost his footing momentarily, a bit unlucky there.
Yeah, you can see how patient New Mexico United are being, though, just waiting for the opening to present itself. And Harris and Reed Stephen have actually switched sides momentarily here, because I was going to say that both of those players have really struggled to get in the game the last 10, 12 minutes or so.
Greg Hurst unleashes one. Just keeping Mora awake back there. Ended up being a comfortable save that time. El Paso, they seem keen to continue hitting these long balls and allowing Rubio Rubin to really test these center backs, Chris.
Yeah, and why not? I mean, he's so lively again, like playing off the shoulder as well, and his pace. And you can almost see a little bit of panic in New Mexico United defenders when they're having to defend their own 18-yard box.
Paso have something going here. Actually snuffed out that time by Hamalainen. It was all the way back to Dolenmeyer. Jabang with the interception. Lovely cut there from Usman Jabang. New Mexico now have some real estate to work with. Harris has switched sides. Here's Deon Harris and Ricky Ruiz with some great defending and a bit of frustration there being shown by Deon Harris.
Yeah, like I said, he's struggling to find the game there, and you see he always wanted to shift the ball onto his right foot and try and use his pace, and it's just not happened for him so far. We talked about him in the pre-game, about his pace, and he just hasn't had an opportunity to show it yet.
You see El Paso able to stay on the right side in their last 4 matches when they score first. Have some work cut out for them tonight if they want that to continue being the case. Cava goes back to Chris Shakes. Chris Shakes, the 24-year-old, making his 26th USL Championship start for New Mexico United. This is Jabang. Reed Stephen back on his normal right side. He's fouled by Ruiz, and we're going to see our first yellow card this evening. "37 minutes in, Ricky Ruiz goes into the book of Alexandra Billiter. Here we get another look at the foul. Definitely late, definitely some contact. This just sets up another opportunity here for New Mexico. Another TLC free kick. This is Niall Reed-Stephen. Left-footed, he went for goal and didn't miss by much.
I think he saw Moramora. Moramora just took a little cheeky step to his right, anticipating the cross, and Reed-Stephen thought, why not? And looked in a vicious shot, but I do think Moramora had it covered all the way. You see a little step there where he starts to go out to deal with the cross, and he just tries to catch him off guard, but overcooks it a little bit.
Niall Reed-Stephen scored here in late March in the home opener for New Mexico. Scored again at Orange County. He's currently tied for the team lead when it comes to goals scored in USL Championship. Excuse me, he is the leader. Well, tied now with Greg Hurst following tonight's 2 goals in 10 minutes for the Scotsman. But Niall Reed-Stephen, look, this is a guy, Chris, who was brought in to replace Mukwele Akale on that right wing, right? And you think about Mukwele Akale, you think about goal contributions, whether it be scoring the goals, creating the goals. Well, that's what Dennis Sanchez is really hoping for Niall Reed-Stephen to do, as Moreno cuts in here on the right foot. Moreno unleashes one, but going back to Reed-Stephen, this is a guy who's making the jump, Chris, from USL League One, where he played for South Georgia Tormenta last season. Ironically, that's where Mukwele Akale came from. But Reed-Stephen last season contributed to 20 goals. 13 goals scored, 7 assists. He was a USL League One all-league selection. Really showing you why here through the first few matches for Dennis Sanchez.
And, I mean, huge shoes to fill as well, right? Akale was not only a great player, but a fan favourite, you know, someone who got the fans off their seats and entertained, you know, so it's, yeah, like I say, big shoes to fill, but off to a really good start in black and yellow.
Here's Harris. Out to Gloucester. Chris Gloucester tonight making his 66th league appearance for the club. This ball turned over. Mendez looking to poke it forward, but Kamalainen, great defending that time on Rubio Rubin. Able to corral that ball. Shakes was well out of his box that time as well.
But you can see the El Paso, the 3 centre mids, Coronado, Santi and Palvio, not really involved in the build-up play for El Paso. It's very much defenders and El Paso trying to turn New Mexico United and make them face their own goal, and Rubin and Moreno and Mendez looking to get in behind and really stretch the field for El Paso. But the 3 centre mids for El Paso, very much a defensive unit, and then get the ball forwards as quickly as possible, or watching the ball go over their head. You know, the defenders are just skipping them and playing straight into the forwards, either their feet or into their path to run onto.
Deion Harris running onto this one. Harris cuts it back. Just sneaks by Greg Hurst, able to corral it again. Here's Zico Bailey. Thought about it. Bailey, he's pulled down, and the free kick has been given.
Well, yeah, I mean, I think Zico Bailey, I think he was pulled to the ground a little bit there, but there was that pullback that we talked about maybe about 10-15 minutes ago when Noel was in the same position and Harris spotted it and tried to pull it back to the penalty spot. There was a little more depth in the runs from New Mexico United, far more dangerous. Going back to El Paso, their midfield not really involved in the build-up, but New Mexico United, on the other hand, Jabang, Zico Bailey, really pulling a lot of the strings for New Mexico United in an attacking sense, whether it's through patient passing or slotting those through balls to the attacking front three.
Moreno gets on the end of this one from Calvillo. Cross well over the head of Rubio Rubin, and it's headed out. This is going to be another El Paso corner. And New Mexico, Chris, so far, they've done a great job at really limiting these El Paso set pieces.
Yeah, we know El Paso very dangerous from set pieces, and this is the time towards the end of the half where you can maybe lack of concentration, really need to be switched on, make sure everyone knows who their role is or what their role is in this. I'm sure they've been set up in a very specific way.
Played into the box. Into this Gloucester that might have initially gotten the head to that ball. Second ball in. Deion Harris able to clear it away. Box again. It was Dolenmeyer who's ventured forward. Jabang just could not squeeze that ball by the defender, and Niall Reed-Stephen commits the foul. And I think he's quite lucky to escape without a yellow card that time. That was a pretty forceful tackle there, Chris.
clumsy. I'd say clumsy. I'm not sure there was a ton of intent, but yeah, very clumsy. And I think the referee's done a really good job of controlling the game so far. You know, obviously it can get a little chippy this game, and done a really good job keeping cards in the pocket, but managing the game really well as well.
Just the one card given so far to Ricky Ruiz in the 37th minute. And usually a lot of cards when these two teams link up, Chris. You know, we look at the last 5 matches these two teams have played. In 4 of those, there's been at least 5 cards issued.
And El Paso have been no saints this year as well, with 4 red cards already this season, so early in the season. So that's a disciplinary issue that might be brewing early on in the season for them.
On the line in. Bailey was looking to poke that ball forward for Reed Steven. Instead, Moreno now has some space. Rubin. And it's a round of applause for the Jamaican international, Malik Howell. And his defensive effort that time. Still on the ball is Malik Howell, and eventually draws the foul. Looks like just a bit of frustration there from Armando Moreno.
I think that's another one where maybe, you know, if Reed Steven had been given a yellow card a couple of minutes earlier, I think Moreno would have probably got one there as well, because he had a couple of little bites there trying to bring Howell down, and Howell just so powerful, stepping out from the back. No one could really touch him.
Into second half stoppage time we go. 2 minutes added on here at the end of the first 45. Stoppage brought to you by New Mexico Pinon Coffee, the taste of enchantment. Goal kick here for El Paso. Calvillo now plays this ball forward. Mendez. Great defending there by Nico Hamalainen. Or was it? El Paso back in possession. Coronado heads it out. It looked like for a moment Hamalainen was able to see that ball out, but Mendez said not so fast. Seconds gone by of the 2 minutes added on. No whistle there. As New Mexico. Looks like we'll finally get the whistle here for the stoppage. It's Mendez who's down. That's Mendez now hearing it from the New Mexico home crowd. Mendez with the assist tonight on that Rubin goal. Mendez, you talk about fine away form, Chris. Mendez, he's contributed to goals in his last 3 away games in the league. 2 goals, 2 assists.
And he's one of, again, that front 3 as a whole. Well, Moreno came into the side today in place of Torres, but they look like a front 3 that have played together every single minute of every single game. They're on the same wavelength. The runs, the timing of the movement's really good, and the pace that they have as well is clearly troubling New Mexico's back line each time as well.
Looks like Mendez is going to be receiving some treatment. So while we've got a moment, fans, we'd like to let you know that you can watch the USL Championship in Spanish on TUDN. That's the nation's leading Spanish language sports network. Go to USLChampionship.com for the complete USL TV listings. And if you're watching locally here in the state of New Mexico, you can actually listen to our own Spanish broadcast team. Manny Esquivel, a Emmy-winning sports broadcaster, leads that team over there, just a couple of booths down from us. They're incredibly fun to listen to, Chris. Not that you're not.
He might be more understandable than I am, even if you don't speak Spanish.
Well, it's a beautiful night out here in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Thank you for joining us. Some midweek USL Championship action, the 22nd edition of the Derby del Camino Real. Tyler Ortega here alongside Chris Hurst on the CBS Sports Golazo Network. There's a look at our current conditions. It's about as nice as you can ask for, Chris.
Yeah, it really is. It's been a weird spring, hasn't it? It was so hot earlier on, and then the wind was ripping, and the snow up north now. But tonight, if you can't play soccer on a night like tonight, you need to find a different sport. It is beautiful out here.
Looks like we're ready to get restarted there from the Mendes injury. I don't know how much of the 2 minutes that was added on is left after that. And it doesn't look like New Mexico are very keen on moving the ball upfield. Perhaps looking to just see this one out into the half. Here's Bailey. Yep. Here comes Dayon Harris. Gloucester finds Harris. Just couldn't reconnect there. This will be a goal kick here for El Paso. No, it won't. That's going to be the end of the first half. New Mexico gave up the first goal. Rubio Rubin opened up the scoring 12 minutes in, but a brace from Greg Hurst sees the hosts on top here at the break. Chris, your assessment of the first 45.
Really entertaining half.
Game on at New Mexico's ultimate game day destination, Sandia Sportsbook. With live wagering 7 days a week, Albuquerque's book is ready for action. Bet at Sandia Sportsbook or at kiosk locations on the casino floor. Sandia Sportsbook offers amazing food and drink specials with spectacular views. Sports betting has come to Sandia. Sandia Sportsbook. Game on.
Well, it is Star Wars night here at Rio Grande Credit Union Field at Isotopes Park in Albuquerque this evening, as New Mexico leading their arch rivals El Paso Locomotive in the 22nd edition of the Derby del Camino Real. As we get into some of our halftime programming, Chris, lots to get into. So why don't we start out here by taking a look at the Week 10 schedule. A lot of soccer ahead of us, Chris. We've got games on Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We're actually going to be here back again on Saturday. We'll talk about that in just a little bit, but we're going to see some really good matchups here. And for New Mexico, if you're going to be interested in watching some of the Western Conference action, tune in right here on Golazo again tomorrow night. Switchbacks play host to Orange County, as some crucial points there at stake in the Western Conference, Chris.
Yeah, Danny Stone taking his team up to Colorado Springs. That'll be a really interesting one, and the Western Conference really starting to take shape.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything.
This spring, stay 3 nights and get a $50 Best Western gift card.
Today, we accomplished nothing. I mean it, not a thing. And it was kinda everything.
This spring, stay 3 nights and get a $50 Best Western gift card.
It is halftime in the USL Championship. We hope you're enjoying your match so far. I'm Dan Lucas inside the USL studio with a look at some of the headlines from the championship. Last week we learned a lesson. Never leave a match early if the outcome is in doubt. 3 matches were decided in added time, beginning with Colorado Springs, grabbing a 3-3 draw with San Antonio in the 100th minute. Peter Wilson headed home the game-tying goal for Oakland Roots in a 2-2 draw with Loudoun United. And Michel Benitez cleaned up a saved penalty kick in added time to lead Sacramento Republic to a 3-2 win over Orange County. Louisville City's run to the round of 16 in the U.S. Open Cup earned the club $50,000 in prize money for being the furthest advancing team from the USL Championship. Lou City won a regulation wins tiebreaker with Colorado Springs to get the prize. It's still early in the season, but a trend that's helping the top clubs winning at home. Entering Week 10, 7 clubs above the playoff line in their respective conferences are unbeaten at home, so far led by San Antonio in the West, Tampa Bay in the East. Upcoming national broadcasts, AC Boise and FC Naples next Wednesday in League One. Then it's Richmond Kickers and Charleston Battery in the USL Cup. Rhode Island hosts Brooklyn. All 3 matches are on the CBS Sports Network. Now the second half is getting closer. Let's get you back out to your match.
Welcome back here to Albuquerque. It is halftime as New Mexico lead El Paso by a score of 2-1 in the Derby del Camino Real. Thanks for joining us here on CBS Sports Golazo Network. Let's take a look at our first half highlights presented by the guys at Ferguson Law Firm. We're here for you, and we're here to win. Well, El Paso, they showed up, Chris, here to win. 13 minutes in, Rubio Rubin draws first blood.
Yeah, and it just shows how dangerous that front line and specifically Rubin can be. First time he really touched the ball in New Mexico United's penalty box, and also really the first time that they had a chance, and it's in the back of the net before New Mexico United can do anything about it. So really stark warning for how dangerous and how potent that offense really is.
However, the answer for New Mexico came just moments later as Greg Hurst opens his account in 2026.
And what a way to do it. The cheeky little flick around the back, the defender's leg, and then I think the keeper was unsighted where he just couldn't react quick enough. Mora there. It ends up through his legs as well, and there's the celly by Hurst as well.
Greg Hurst, he said,
In the land of enchantment, every move counts. That's why you need New Mexico Orthopedics to get you back doing the things you love. The official orthopedic surgeons of New Mexico United. Somos Unidos.
When you join the New Mexico State Police, you're stepping into more than a patrol car. You're stepping into possibility. From tactical missions to underwater recoveries, from negotiating under pressure and mastering the skies with cutting-edge drone technology, Our specialized teams go beyond the ordinary. If you're looking for a challenge, teamwork, and the chance to be part of something bigger, your path starts here. Join the legacy. Join New Mexico State Police.
Game on at New Mexico's ultimate game day destination, Sandia Sportsbook. With live wagering 7 days a week, Albuquerque's book is ready for action. Bet at Sandia Sportsbook or at kiosk locations on the casino floor. Sandia Sportsbook offers amazing food and drink specials with spectacular views. Sports betting has come to Sandia. Sandia Sportsbook. Game on.
In the land of enchantment, every move counts. That's why you need New Mexico Orthopedics to get you back doing the things you love. The official orthopedic surgeons of New Mexico United. Somos Unidos.
Well, we're back here on CBS Sports Golazo Network, and fans, the USL on CBS is presented by Best Western Hotels and Resorts, the official hotel partner of the United Soccer League. And Chris, both teams out onto the pitch as New Mexico holding a 1-goal lead here going into the second 45. What tactical changes, if any, do you anticipate here from El Paso to try to get themselves back into this one?
I know it's going to be really interesting because they have looked dangerous. That front three is clearly causing issues for New Mexico United with their pace and running in behind. Is it worth maybe trying to play through the midfield a little more, draw New Mexico United's back line up onto them a little bit to create even more space behind them? That might be something. It almost looks like they've maybe switched into a back three, just the way they're lining up for kickoff here, but that could just be because New Mexico United have the ball.
So it looks like there has been a change for El Paso as we see a swap in the back line. It looks like Tony Alfaro is on to replace Noah Dolenmeyer. And so you take Noah Dolenmeyer off the pitch here, Chris, easily the tallest player out there. That removes a weapon when it comes to your set pieces here late in this game. New Mexico looking to ask some questions early. Noel sends a ball in, and Mora goes full extension.
And New Mexico United looking to start where they left off, where Leon Harris had that chance right near the end of the first half as well to maybe put a ball in the box and decided not to. But New Mexico United showing that maybe they're not going to sit on this 1-goal lead and go and try and push to get the third goal.
We talked about the versatility of this Junior Gonzalez squad in El Paso, just some of the different systems they run, and we're seeing a little bit of it here this evening. Paso now could be onto something. Rubin battling there with Malik Howell, as he's done for 45 minutes plus so far this evening. Malik Howell just comes up a little limping following that one. Something to keep an eye on. Leinen linking up with Bailey. Here's Gloucester now. Zico Bailey making his 74th league appearance for the club this evening. He's a guy, Chris, that, if you recall, joined the club mid-season in 2023. He was the very first edition of Eric Quill when he took over as manager. Lacava, he's a new addition to the squad this side, Chris, and quickly etching his name down as a playmaker for this side. He's already got 2 assists on the season. Rubin flicks this on for Moreno. Still Moreno. Shot attempt was blocked there. It was Mendez who had a pop. Here's Calvillo now. All the way back to Sebastian Mora. from San Diego, California. There's Rubin looking to change the angle here. Quesada now. Looks to be another second half sub that came in. We'll get to that in just a second as El Paso still probing around the 18. Here's Mendez looking to get it back, and Mendez just drags it wide here of the near post of Chris Shakes. Another look on this TLC replay. There indeed was a second substitution there at halftime as we see the Ghanaian Kofi Chumasi on for El Paso. El Paso now looking to ask some questions. Rubin, ball bouncing around in the 18. Moreno, and it's saved by Chris Shakes.
New Mexico living dangerously here at the start of the second half. Had that one flash early on, and then it's been one misplaced pass has really put New Mexico United on their heels and given El Paso a little bit of confidence to step onto them as well. And maybe a little too comfortable playing sideways, New Mexico United, rather than playing forwards. They were doing a really good job of getting the ball higher up the field earlier. El Paso are all guns blazing right now, really penning them back in.
Quesada tried to play that ball into the box and had it blocked, so this is going to set up a corner kick here for the visitors. And it is Mendez who will step up to do the honors here with his left foot. Mendez looks far post. It was headed back across. It looked like it might have been Alfaro that made the contact, however, ruled another corner kick here for El Paso. They take it quickly. Coronado. Mendez with the left foot. Chumasi, and it's dealt with eventually by Gloucester. In for Rubin, but the offside flag is up.
And it's a little worrying, New Mexico United there. That's the third time, and granted Rubin was offside in that instance, but that's the third time in a row where El Paso have managed to get a man over wide open at the back post. New Mexico United very ball focused and watching the ball and not really necessarily paying attention to what's going on behind them. You need to be a little wary of that because El Paso being pretty patient in possession in and around the 18-yard box and then playing deep crosses into that back post, and they're managing to just pick their runners and get someone wide open at the back.
Rubin, talk about somebody who is absolutely just on fire so far this season, Chris. 6 goals this season. He currently leads the Golden Boot race. This ball flicked on. Flag stays down. El Paso onto something. Mendez. And the cross goes begging. Moreno gives it chase but can't hunt it down. This game really starting to open up now.
Looks like the field's maybe on a bit of a hill and it's all leading towards New Mexico United's goal right now. El Paso really pushing for the equaliser. Carver there flying in at the back post to try and deal with the cross. He's almost lucky he didn't make connection with the ball because it seemed like it was only going one place and that was going to be an own goal. But the cross evaded everyone, but you can see New Mexico United, they can't connect any passes. El Paso comes straight back at them.
El Paso still connecting. A big save by Shakes. Calvillo let that one rip from outside the 18. Moreno again. Rubin. Great defensive step up there from Zico Bailey. And New Mexico can breathe only for just a moment. Another El Paso throw-in. Alfaro finds the playmaker, Mondo Moreno. Chamasi. This is Quesada. Quesada with a left-footed cross. Mercado able to step in front of Moreno that time. The foul is called there. Chris Gloucester. Excuse me, that was on Niall Reed-Stephen, my apologies. Chris Shakes already with a couple of saves tonight. A pair of Locomotive players standing over this one. Comes the free kick. Away by Hamalainen. Here's Coronado. And the second opportunity, and he sends that ball into the crowd.
And New Mexico have really got to try and find a foothold in the second half. It's been all El Paso, the changes they've made, not just in personnel, but the tempo. Every time the ball's out of play for a throw-in, immediately back in play, not allowing New Mexico United to breathe at all. Mexico just can't connect the pass to get up the field, can't get their attacking players in the game to allow their midfield to get up the field as well. Really, really isolated up there.
Paso come back into possession, only for just a moment. This ball goes all the way back to Chris Shakes. Reed-Stephen looking to turn out of this one. New Mexico with some nice link-up play for just a moment. And Reed-Stephen has that ball cut out. And friends, we'd like to let you know that Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the grassroots to the pros, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select products, specials, and more. Select, the player's choice. Here's Shakes under some pressure. Mexico almost turned that ball over. Instead, Noel turns and he's got options. There's Jabang now. Jabang decides why not. No problem there for Mora Mora.
Those are the players, Noel, Zico Bailey, Jabang, those were the players who were dictating the game in the first half and really non-existent so far in the second half. Granted, it's only 10 minutes in, 10, 11 minutes in, but definitely been a shift in the pattern of this game at the start of the second half.
Here comes Moreno once again. His cross, however, finds the feet of Malik Howell. Paso looking to cause some more trouble. And that ball looked like it took a deflection there, and Shakes able to get to it. It was Calvillo once again. New Mexico doing a good job here defensively of bending but not breaking, but the chances starting to add up for Locomotive, Chris.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if you're a huge believer in expected goals, but it was very much in the favour of New Mexico United after the first half, as we showed in the stats at halftime that they were 0.8, something like that. El Paso were 0.5. They jumped up over almost to 1.5. They're at 1.42 right now, which again, it just shows, it doesn't necessarily prove a whole lot, you know, I'm not a huge believer in it, but it shows the kind of chances that they're getting and the opportunities they're getting in and around the New Mexico United goal are high percentage chances. And I don't imagine they're going to take one of these soon. Well, they need to. You know, when you're on top in these games, you have to finish your chances, and that'll be the one thing that is bugging the El Paso coaching staff right now. Second half, a great start to it, but how have they not managed to draw level?
Ready for the restart here. Almost an hour gone by here between these two. Thanks for joining us this evening on CBS Sports Golazo. New Mexico looking to break forward. Jabang finds La Cava. This is Zico Bailey. Zico Bailey, the Philippine international. Reed Steven now. Reed Steven, that one had some venom behind it. Moreno looking to break. Rubin in front of him. Moreno has to hit the brakes. Flag stays down here on Rubin. Finds Moreno, who lays it off, and Zico Bailey is there defensively. There's Calvillo, the captain. Is it forward? Quesada thought about it. Moreno has that shot blocked by Hamalainen, but El Paso really turning up the heat now, Chris.
Yeah, and you mentioned in the first half about how New Mexico have done a good job of avoiding too many set pieces. They are really starting to mount up right now for El Paso, and again, it's that free runner at the back post. Watch the big collection of players just in front of the 6-yard box around about the penalty spot. One of the El Paso players working to get picked to get it free at the back post.
Well, how's that for a defensive header from the Frenchman Valentin Noel? Typically known for his offensive playmaking abilities.
That is a problem for New Mexico. His name's not been said enough in an attacking sense. Really, and same as Harris, really struggled to find the game, and El Paso have done a great job of shutting that offensive power down.
Dennis Sanchez, they're on the touchline. Just looks to be discussing some stuff with his staff, perhaps writing down some tactical changes, something to help tilt the field back in their favor. Here come the Locomotive once again. Moreno. Well done defensively there by Jake La Cava. Cava just turns on the Jets. Finds Noel. New Mexico could be onto something. Valentin Noel.
It's easy to say from up here, but it looked like he could have took another touch. Crank committed the goalkeeper to that near post. Decided to take the shot early and just kind of floated it above his head. What a run by La Cava, though. Like they turned on the turbo. Moreno couldn't hang with him.
Jake La Cava, a seasoned professional, Chris, tonight marks his 153rd USL Championship appearance. We're starting to see some action in the New Mexico United substitutes area. This is Mendez. Corner goes in. He struck it well. It's Cleared away by New Mexico. Well, fans, soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL Championship. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Ross goes in on the line and with a low header. And Steven couldn't sneak it by the defender that time. Great defending by Cardona. Moreno on his bike. We've seen Moreno do that before in this stadium on this goal, Chris.
I mean, that would have been an absolute worldie, though, from that angle and that far out. But I don't know if it's the audacity or the confidence. But I mean, he didn't need a second invitation. The ball just popped up nice from fair play and thought that was the best option. If that had gone in, that would have been goal of the season. Stop the count now.
Chris Shakes is going to be shown yellow for time wasting. 65 minutes in. That's the first yellow card for New Mexico. How's that for a stat there? Over 55% of the action has been in the New Mexico defensive third over the most recent 15 minutes, Chris.
I mean, that certainly fits the eye test as well. You know, watching the game, again, we were joking that the field was tilted towards the New Mexico United goal, and it was not quite as severe, but similar in the first half with El Paso, having to spend a long time down this end of the field as well. So maybe it is tilted, who knows? But El Paso certainly asking all the questions, and we'll be wondering how they have not managed to draw level.
Coming into tonight, El Paso boasting the league's hottest offense. 17 goals scored before tonight's game, Chris. That is #1 in the USL Championship. And they do it at an impressive rate. Here comes Niall Reed-Steven. Cross goes in. Deon Harris. The ball was a little behind him. One of those rare occasions where the speed actually works against Deon Harris, Chris.
Yeah, and you could see he tried to throw almost like a little scorpion to try and get something on the ball. Yeah, just played behind him there. You're right, just got himself ahead of it. Just a little too eager to attack that front post area, and just on slightly different wavelengths from Reed-Steven.
Here's Coronado. Floated near side, Quesada. Lucky for Moreno there. Play stops for the Locomotive midfielders. Well, Chris, it looks like the time has come here for Dennis Sanchez to make his first changes of the night. We're going to see 3 substitutions for the black and yellow midfielders. Gideon Zalalem. Also going to see forwards Justin Renix and Luther Archimed. Exiting the match here will be Greg Hurst, Deon Harris, and Niall Reed-Steven. So Mexico looks like they're reloading up top. Archimed, obviously a big target here for set pieces. Harris exits after a active 68 minutes.
Yeah, and it's been a lot of chasing for the front three without much reward. the start of the second half. There's something going on where the referee's not allowing Archimed on the field for some reason. There appears to be some confusion. Not quite sure what's going on there, but yeah, Zalalam's late to get on as well.
Well, when we do get these substitutions sorted out, Chris, they'll be brought to you by Chiba Hut, toasted subs and sandwiches. So Archimed is on, Renix is on, and Zalalam still waiting over by the fourth official. We're going to have quite a bit of time added on, it seems like.
And it looks like New Mexico are playing down a man as well.
We'll try to get this figured out here as Gideon Zalalam watches on. And now the center official is going to walk over to the fourth. And so this is, now they're explaining what's going on. Okay, so Gideon Zalalam still waiting to come on. So while they get this sorted out, we want to let you know that if you can't watch the match, you can turn on SiriusXM FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights. Plus, you can hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more, all on SiriusXM FC 157 and the new SiriusXM app. I'd also like to let you know that eFootball is here. Live your dream, rep your team, play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball. It's free to play. Download now. Now going back to the SiriusXM thing, Chris, our good friends in the booth right next to us, Adam Deal, Andy Hageman. They handle the local broadcasts here in Albuquerque on ESPN Radio 101.7 The Team. They're on SiriusXM tonight. So if you're interested, hop on over, listen to them for a few minutes.
I'd be really intrigued to see how they're describing what they're seeing right now, because we have the pictures to at least show. So the bewildered look on their face right now is pretty much the same as everyone else.
I wish we had a camera in here, because they're looking at us with the most dumbfounded looks on their faces, trying to figure out what's going on. And so Gideon Zalalam still waiting to come on. Chris, we've been doing this for a long time here. Never seen anything like this.
No, it is, because, I mean, the front three have gone off. New Mexico United, 2, 4, 6, they only have 10 players on the field right now. That's all that really the referee needs to do, is just count and see that they are down a player. All the subs have gone off. I'm not sure. It must be a paperwork error, I'm assuming, over on the sideline over there.
Now she's making Luther Archimed head off as well. And so at the moment, New Mexico have 9 men on the pitch. We'll get this sorted out eventually. Let's just clean up our final housekeeping note here and let you know here that the USL Championship and League One are on CBS Sports and ESPN platforms all season long. Catch live matches and expert analysis every day on the CBS Sports Golazo Network and ESPN Plus. Go to USLChampionship.com or USLLeague1.com for complete USL TV listings. And so in between all of this, El Paso have now made a substitution. Roberto Coronado will exit. And Daniel Gomez will enter. And so New Mexico, they're going to defend this set piece with 9 men. Archimed and Zalalam still standing near the fourth official. El Paso with a massive opportunity here. The shot, and it's blazed over the bar. Chris, a very interesting choice to take that shot from that opportunity where you're up 2 men.
Interesting is one word for it. That is definitely one word. I mean, talk about letting New Mexico United off the hook a little bit there. There were 3 guys over at the back post. New Mexico United right now, 8 field players. I have never seen this. I'll be about to be 44 years old. I have never seen this.
They're still waiting. Paso with a huge opportunity in front of them right now. Can they capitalize? Moreno was looking to link up with Calvillo. Moreno gets it back. Comes all the way to Cardona.
If El Paso score in this period here,
Moreno might have an opportunity. Lays it off. The shot goes through, and it's Chris Shakes diving to stop that ball.
What was I going to say? If they score on this, I might stick around for the post-match press conference, because Sanchez will be absolutely fuming.
They're telling Chris Shakes just to boot it long, and now we're going to see Luther Archimed and Gideon Zalalem onto the pitch. It's been a good 4 or 5 minutes since they were announced as subs, Chris. That was a curious situation.
And Greg Hurst is still on the field.
So I believe it was Valentin Noel that was subbed off instead of Greg Hurst.
Maybe that was the issue. Yeah, that might have been the confusion. Maybe the wrong number was written down.
And what's interesting about it now is Greg Hurst is playing in the midfield, where Johnston Renix has now taken that spot up top to lead the line now for New Mexico. Renix already with a couple of goals off the bench this season. The first of which coming in the season opener at the Coliseum in Oakland. The second came in the USL Cup play against AV Alta. Stoppage here that looks to be Jake LaCava down for New Mexico. Chris, he's covered a lot of ground tonight.
You had a good 10-minute break, just waiting for those substitutions. I'm just trying to work out. I have no idea how long stoppage time is going to be. It could be 12, 13 minutes. But that was a long, long stoppage trying to work through what was going on there.
Well, Chris, we move along and continue the match here. Zalalem finally gets his touch here. First touch of the night. Renix looks to flick this ball on for Archimed instead. This will be a throw-in for El Paso.
Tell you what that stoppage might have done, though. You can just see it's kind of, there was a lot of momentum with El Paso, so maybe that's kind of took the sting out of the game a little bit for New Mexico United. I'm sure it's not how they planned it, wrote it up.
Archimed whistled for the foul. The New Mexico players can't believe it.
Yeah, I think that was a very unfortunate there. Archimed was just, he got a toe on the ball, and the El Paso player certainly can't become invisible, and just unfortunate contact there. Sanchez, obviously this is probably one of many decisions that he's questioning right now and feeling hard done by New Mexico United, having to play 3 or 4 minutes, 2 players down because of paperwork issues as well, and it's probably just boiling over now with that free kick as well.
being told a yellow card shown to the New Mexico bench. Yellow cards brought to you by the guys at Ferguson Law Firm. If you've been fouled, call Ferguson Law Firm, New Mexico's leading personal injury attorneys for over 40 years. This isn't really the way that you wanted the second half to play out. If you're New Mexico, Chris, you've done your fair share of defending. Haven't really had a ton of chances offensively. And it's just been very choppy, very weird. Hasn't really allowed you the chance to really establish yourself in the second half.
Yeah, but again, it'd be interesting to see who's more upset with that stoppage. New Mexico United, again, had to play players down. But El Paso have lost all the momentum they had. Like, they were camped out in the New Mexico United 18-yard box, just asking question after question. And now New Mexico United have got a little bit of a foothold in the game. The front three, the new front three, have given them a little bit more impetus to be able to go forward and asking some questions of their own.
10 minutes plus stoppage time remain. Tyler Ortega here alongside Chris Hurst. To hear live from Rio Grande Credit Union Field at Isotopes Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico. Wherever you're watching, however you're watching, thank you for joining us here this evening. Paso dominating the ball here over the last 15 minutes. Another look on this TLC replay. Usman Chabang just a little overzealous there with the challenge. Here's the captain, Calvillo. Chumasi, second half substitute. Chumasi unleashes one, parried away by Shakes. That was a long-range missile from the Ghanaian, Chris.
Yeah, and Chris Shakes didn't want to take any risks trying to collect that properly or trying to secure the ball, and just pushes it away and does a really good job of not just getting it away from the goal, but he actually got it out of the 18-yard box.
Looks like we're due for another El Paso change here. Junior Gonzalez emptying out the bench here in search of this equalizer. Diego Abitia is on to replace defender Nick Cardona. Rubin just couldn't corral that ball, and Alfaro's shot was blocked. Has that ball taken off his feet. A foul called as Moreno goes to ground. Well, it's a weekday, but the black and yellow faithful still showing up in force here tonight, Chris. 7,758 is your official attendance this evening, brought to you by New Mexico Mutual. This ball goes into the box. Rubin, I think he was surprised how much space he had. Still Rubin, and it's saved by Shakes. And the foul there is called against El Paso. Here's Abitia. Chris Shakes already on a yellow for time wasting. He's taking every single second he can here, Chris. And You know, they always say time wasting is an art.
Yeah, he's walking that tightrope, right? And I'm sure New Mexico will continue to do that and trying to secure what would be a huge 3 points.
We saw the Western Conference table there at halftime, Chris. New Mexico in 10th coming into tonight, but again, 2, 3, even 4 games in hand on certain opponents. If this result holds, the live table currently has New Mexico above the playoff line. They'll be in 8th place with a matchup against 10th place Las Vegas Lights looming on Saturday. Huge 6 points at stake this week. And then again, 2 weeks from now, Chris, when New Mexico do this same thing again, you have the Wednesday-Saturday home double. However, those will be against 2 Eastern Conference opponents in Tampa Bay Rowdies and the Charleston Battery. Cross comes in. It was a dangerous ball.
Renix has done a great job since coming on the pitch here, where he's holding the ball up, trying to bring Archamed into the game and bringing the other guys, the midfielders into the game, but just holding on to the ball and doing a great job of giving the defenders a little bit of respite.
We'll see a couple more defensive subs for New Mexico. As the captain, Will Seymour, will enter alongside Cam Wilkerson. You talk about opposite ends of the spectrum here, Chris. Cam Wilkerson coming on to make his 5th USL Championship appearance for New Mexico. Will Seymour, 115th here this evening for the club, donning the captain's armband. Less than 5 minutes plus stoppage time remain. Ball goes into the box. Rubin shakes, has to be careful, and El Paso have leveled things up. Abitia with the equalizer 86 minutes in, and he celebrates in front of the home fans.
Yeah, you got to say that's what El Paso probably deserved for the second half performance. It's been coming, and the changes so positive from the bench, sticking 2 up front as well. It's really a ball that the first ball was defended quite well by New Mexico United, but the bicycle kick with Chris Shakes out of the goal beats, I think it was Seymour, who was the despairing defender on the goal line as well.
Well, let's take another look at this. Chris Shakes well off his line, and it just falls to Abitia, who hits the bicycle kick and goes corner pocket. A massive equalizer in the 86th minute, Chris. And this sets the stage. Will we see another appearance from the Kings of Chaos? Here come New Mexico. Ball poked away from Renix. Gloucester now. Gloucester! Saved by Mora Mora. Jabang. He goes down. Official not interested. You know, and here's the thing, Chris. This really sets the stage for exactly what we saw when these two teams met just 2 years ago in the USL Championship. If you recall, Armando Moreno converted a penalty in the 87th minute to put El Paso up by a score of 2-1. New Mexico followed that up with an 89th minute goal from Jacobo Reyes, and then Nicky Hernandez 2 minutes later in second half stoppage time.
Was that when Nicky Reyes got sent off for the mask? Wearing the mask, was that game?
No, that was not that game. Here comes Gloucester, however. New Mexico. looking for an opening. 89th minute. Jabang is fouled. Yellow card comes out as well.
I think Jabangs were quite unlucky not to get a free kick a lot closer to the 18-yard box just a few moments earlier. Very similar to the tackle that Archimed made, where he just kind of went through the defender by accident, but the bar was set earlier on by the referee, and yeah, you can see Jabang was sitting in the penalty area asking the question. So there was definitely a question to be answered there, but he's just all of a sudden sprung back to life since the goal for El Paso and started dictating things and becoming a lot more involved again.
4 saves for Sebastian Mora tonight. Each one of them just massive. Here comes a big set piece here for New Mexico. Zalalem stands over this ball. Gloucester on the near side. Here's Zalalem. He'll send it back post. Looks like we've got a Locomotive player down.
It was Mora coming out, just commanding his 6-yard box and took everything and the ball, and unfortunately it was one of his defenders too.
It's 29-year-old Ricky Ruiz. Spent some time with the RGV Toros. 65 appearances, scored 5 goals for the club. Also spent some time in League One with the Chattanooga Red Wolves. Well, here's Zalalem. Eight minutes added on here at the end of the 90. Stoppage time brought to you by New Mexico Pinon Coffee, the taste of enchantment. Well, New Mexico will be looking for a moment of magic here as they look to maintain their perfect record at home so far this season. Having defeated Switchbacks in league play and AV Alta in USL Cup play. Then that match against El Paso in the US Open Cup taking place at the University of New Mexico Soccer Complex. Looks like we've got another substitution coming on here for Locomotive. Moreno will exit. On for El Paso, it's Kenneth Hoban. Excuse me, that was Omar Mora who is on, not Hoban. Omar Mora, just 22 years old. Making just his 4th appearance for the club. Abitia, the goal scorer. Mendez now. Hamalainen just clears the danger. Sends this ball deep. Mora well out of his box to clear that ball away. He'll sprint back. Almost 3 minutes gone by here of second half stoppage time. At least 5 more to go.
Yeah, more and more, they're very, very commanding and very assertive, but less than convincing with his clearance. I'm not sure he expected it to go then. Renix, just his pure work rate is causing issues for the back line and the keeper of El Paso there.
Zabitia. Mendez will switch the play. Here's Rubin, and Rubin with the golden opportunity sends it over the crossbar, Chris.
That was a huge chance, and if you are El Paso, that is exactly who you want that chance falling to as well. And somehow, I don't know if he had a little look across the line, maybe expected the whistle to go. He was right on the edge of that offside line there. See, I think he timed it perfectly. Just misses the target. He'll be very disappointed with that.
A striker of his quality does not miss opportunities like those very often. See a yellow card shown to Luther Archimed. So Chris, as things stand, following that El Paso equalizer, New Mexico dropped back down to 10th, where they currently sit behind Las Vegas Lights, who they'll host on this pitch on Saturday. Seymour able to step up and get a foot on it. Unluckily for him, that ball is going to go out for an El Paso throw. 2.5 minutes remaining of the 8 additional minutes here at the end of the second half. Down goes Rubin, and the foul is called on the captain, William Seymour.
I think he actually stands on the ball there. Will Seymour can feel a little hard done by there, I believe.
Calvillo stands over this ball. The El Salvadorian international, 10 caps for La Selecta. Sends this ball in. It's a dangerous one. Gomez had an opportunity. His shot was blocked. Javasi flicks on, but only as far as La Cava. Just shy of Calvillo. New Mexico looking to turn the other way. Here comes Renix. Renix is pulled, and that's going to be a yellow card for Omar Mora.
Yeah, Mora knew exactly what he was doing there. Took one for the team. Renix so positive in his first touch and just driving forwards and essentially rugby tackle to the ground there.
Yellow cards brought to you by the guys at Ferguson Law Firm. Well, down to the final minute of stoppage time. Is there one more moment of magic in this game? Mora climbs the ladder to grab that ball. Howell sends this ball away. Calvillo chasing this ball down. He's put in quite the shift here this evening. 99 minutes played. Great turn from Mendez. Still Mendez. El Paso with one more chance. Cross goes in. No problem there for Chris Shakes. And the 22nd edition of the Derby del Camino Real ends all square at the Lab here, Chris. The points are shared between New Mexico United and El Paso Locomotive. Greg Hurst is awarded your man of the match, brought to you by Pepsi. Also, your play of the match, brought to you by Vara Winery and Distillery. For his brace here this evening, Greg Hurst finally off the mark in 2026, Chris. And Chris Shakes, your defensive play of the match with 6 saves here tonight. Your assessment of tonight's battle?
Yeah, I think, at halftime, New Mexico United were well worth their 1-goal lead, but El Paso really came storming back in the second half and can probably feel great to not have gone on and won the game. So maybe a draw's a fair result at the end of it when it's all said and done, but a much improved second half by El Paso.
Well, it was a battle all the way down to the final whistle. 2-2, our final score between New Mexico United and El Paso Locomotive. We'll step aside. We'll have full-time highlights when we return.
Game on at New Mexico's ultimate game day destination, Sandia Sportsbook. With live wagering 7 days a week, Albuquerque's book is ready for action. Bet at Sandia Sportsbook or at kiosk locations on the casino floor. Sandia Sportsbook offers amazing food and drink specials with spectacular views. Sports betting has come to Sandia. Sandia Sportsbook. Game on.
Well, back here at the Lab in Albuquerque as New Mexico United and El Paso Locomotive split the points tonight as this one ends all square at 2 goals apiece. Chris, why don't we go ahead and have a look at our full-time highlights brought to you by Ferguson Law Firm. And the party got started early here this evening, Chris. Let's go back to the first half, just 13 minutes in. Rubio Rubin with his 6th goal of the USL Championship season.
Yeah, first sniff of a chance for El Paso, and they took it, and it's the guy that you want those chances to fall to. Had another one later on in the game that he didn't take advantage of, but a great pass into him and made no mistake, firing past Shakes.
Rubio Rubin, as it stands, your current USL Championship Golden Boot leader. But 2 minutes later, New Mexico with the answer. It's the Scotsman, the Black and Yellow's leading scorer in USL Championship play last year, Greg Hurst. Finally, Chris gets the big monkey off his back and gets his first goal of the campaign.
Yeah, all the talk was about maybe lack of confidence of Greg Hurst, and that finish certainly didn't look like. And then this was his second goal. Just the confidence to just take that touch with the outside of his right foot and then just passes it into the bottom corner. Very composed finish.
A 10-minute brace for the Scotsman, Greg Hurst, and he is off the mark in 2026. Fast forward now, second half. Chris, this was a very